Okay, kitchen cabinets part 2, and the part 2 is color and how important and tricky it can be. So take it from my own experience. There's a lot to consider. And so even if you pick a black, you know, they all kind of look the same, but when it comes to the color formula, it's very different. So if you have Sherwin-Williams paint, you can actually go online, click on a color and click details, and the details will show you what the color combination, how much red, how much green, how much blue, and the light value. So I made a list of the blacks that I was interested in, and they were very different, even though on the color wheel, they look very similar. So based upon what you find on the colors, you know, if you don't have blue in your kitchen, you're not going to want a black that has blue going in it. So my painter tells one of the stories. He went to a client's house and I forgot what color they picked out. And he said to them, you know, this has a lot of blue undertones. And the husband said, oh, that's fine. He said, do you want a sample? And the husband said, oh, no, that's fine. Paint the whole house, including the ceilings, with this color. The house gets painted. The wife who'd been out of town, she comes in to see the house, and the first thing she says is, oh, it's a blue house. She did not like it and wanted the whole thing repainted. So it could have all been avoided with some samples and listening to what actually was in the color. Now, when it comes to samples, you don't want to do just a teeny tiny little thing for your sample. And so, especially kitchen cabinets, because you're spending thousands of dollars to have your cabinets done, it's a big decision and you want to make sure that it's right. So I actually save cabinet doors that I can use as samples so that I can put a large section of whatever color I think that I want. And then you can walk around the kitchen and hold it up because you need to look at it in all the different lighting. So on the north side of the room with the light coming in is going to look very different than the other side of the room. You get the point. But looking at the color that you want next to all the other finishes that you have in your bathroom, all that is very important to take into consideration. If all else fails and you're really like, I don't know what I need to do, you might want to actually consult with a professional who is an expert on these color wheels and all the things that I was just telling you go into it. So in our last house, I had a granite in the kitchen. It had a lot of different colors in it. I was keeping it, made it very difficult for me to narrow down the choices. And so I actually hired a friend of mine who's a professional designer and has done a whole lot of study on colors and said, can you give me some options? The things that she picked out, I never would have picked out. And so, she had the different options. The option that I ended up going with was perfect. And I never ever would have picked that out on the color wheel because these just really do not give you a true sense of what it's gonna look like. So sometimes you need to call in the professional before you make that decision.